legends, and thank God that Ilia Topuria has chosen to run away from the featherweight division so Alexander Volkanovski can reclaim his title. That's right, Ilia Topuria is running away in fear, cowering from the dominant force that is little bulldog Volkanovski. I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm kidding. I know sometimes the Australian sarcasm doesn't translate that well. I am joking. But the reason that I'm talking about Ilia Topuria on this Alex Pereira video, time for some trail sunning, I bring you this because this is a very real topic of conversation. No, I do bring you this because, legitimately, I do. Because remember about 3 months ago, when the talk of Alexander Volkanovski getting his rematch was being bandied about, and almost every single person, every single MMA content creator, even the corporate MMA guys, you know, the pound for pounds, the Believe You Me's, the Ariel Helwanis, the Lucas Tracy's, the MMA gurus, the whole spectrum of creators. The whole scene was essentially talking about how we love Volk, we respect Volk, we understand that he certainly deserves a rematch and he's done enough for the rematch, but we don't really want to see it because we don't know if things are going to go any differently. In fact, Ilia Topuria might really hurt Volkanovski and give him long-term damage, CTE, my brothers. For example, here's a clip of the absolute GOAT of the sport, Mighty Mouse, talking about he doesn't expect it to go any differently.
Here, if Ilia gets to the opportunity to touch you, you're going to sleep. So I don't know what other tool set he was going to bring to the fight to stop Ilia from getting to him. Right? Like, if they do a rematch, all Ilia has to do is touch him.
You have these reactions on Twitter months ago talking about the rematch to Ilia Topuria. Nobody seems to want to see the rematch. We had a beloved champion in the MMA community lose his belt in a stunning knockout. And a vast majority of the MMA community, even though we had love in our hearts for Alexander Volkanovski, we didn't really want to see the rematch with Ilia Topuria just because of how much of an uphill battle that would be against Ilia. Well, now the news has come through that the negotiations have already officially begun between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev, #GetMogged. And the question is, can Alex Pereira win? Like, how can he win? Listen, upon rewatch, I still believe it was a very, very close fight. It was a very close fight, but that doesn't, you know. Upon watching it live and rewatch, round 3 is like Magomed Ankalaev's round. It is. There's an argument for round 5 to be Magomed's as well, which means we're ending up with like a 4-1 against Alex Pereira, which is crazy because it is a wildly close fight to watch live the first time you watch it. When you walk away from it, you know, and you re-look at the scorecards, you could make an argument for 4-1. Just like I make an argument for Sean O'Malley beating Merab Dvalishvili, I wouldn't get angry if someone made an argument for 4-1. I can see why. So yeah, when I watched it live, I gave Alex 3 and 5, but and even when I was saying it live, if you go back and watch my live stream, by the time it was done, I was playing it, I was messing around during the fight, but I was talking with my brother and taking a very real scorecard. And at the end of the fight, I gave my very real scorecard. And I said Alex Pereira won it by maybe a couple of jabs, right? But there is a rule. There is the third scoring criteria, which is ringmanship. And ringmanship does come into it at very rare circumstances. And considering how close of a fight this was, I think this is one of those ones where rare circumstances come into it. So I could understand giving it to Magomed Ankalaev on ringmanship. Now, this might be the point where you're like, all right, cool, fine, enough. But this is a crazy argument. Why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about Alexander Volkanovski, who clearly got chinned by Ilia Topuria, when we're talking about Alex Pereira and how close that fight was? If that fight was so close, surely Alex Pereira has a chance of winning that fight. We're talking about a fight on a razor's edge here. That is fair. But let me ask you this. Has Alex Pereira got anything more at this point than a puncher's chance to beat Magomed Ankalaev? Like, the first time we went into this fight, even the rare few people like me that were picking Magomed to beat Alex Pereira, we were saying that he would have to do it by smushing Alex Pereira up against the cage in the later rounds. I believed that Alex Pereira would get the better of the striking. I believed that he would get the better of the striking when it came to it, you know, between him and Magomed. I didn't think that he'd be able to knock out Magomed Ankalaev, but I did think he would have the upper hand, to the point where Magomed will have to resort into the same game plan he used against Nikita Krylov and against Jan Blachowicz, which is heavy grappling pressure against the cage, shots to the upper thigh, little knees to the body, stomps to the foot. You know, a real Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal sort of a fight, a Mario Batista-esque performance. And that's nearly what happened, not quite, right? Magomed was able to control the range on the feet really, really well, and he did it with teeps to the body. Now, teeps to the body, not exactly a painful, devastating kick, but they do establish your range perfectly. And because he was establishing his range with the forward pressure with the teeps to the body, whenever Alex would jab, he would be able to duck out of the way, just control the range perfectly because the range was already set up by his teeps, right? So the jabs from Pereira were already being negated just by the range itself. You only had to move out, half an inch just to get out of the way. Now, that paired with just plain old ignoring the calf kick, the Max Holloway style of defense for the calf kick, just completely ignore it, meant that Magomed was able to pressure forward and win the striking battle as well as the grappling battles. Now we go into the rematch. Now Poatan has to watch his 1s and 2s on the feet, as well as having another perfect night with the takedown defense. And I'm sorry to the Magomed fans. I know there's a lot of new ones here, so welcome to the channel. But I don't just ride a fighter willy-nilly. Like I try and say what I believe. So I'm sorry to the Magomed fans. Welcome, but he did try and take him down. Don't give me this Magomed didn't even try and take him down. That last attempt in the 5th was 100% a serious takedown attempt, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. So don't bring this energy of, Khabib out-wrestled DC in the training room. Listen, I don't believe any of that for a second, okay? Now, maybe out of the 12 takedown attempts that Magomed Ankalaev tried, maybe some of them were to just give him a look, just to put the takedown in his head, maybe. But at the same time, some of them were sincere. The last one was 100% sincere, and at the very least, he couldn't do that one when Alex should have been the most tired and easiest to take down, but he couldn't land that one. So I don't know, I tend to lean on the fact that, some of them were just to give looks to create openings for the striking, but some of them were sincere takedown attempts, and Magomed Ankalaev couldn't land anything when it came to the takedown attempts. So, can Alex win a rematch? He'll be going into the rematch a little bit older. The aura will be gone. Now he's on the back foot with the striking as well, yeah? And we'll see what happens when Alex Pereira is dunked onto his ass on the ground. Because again, he's got to have another perfect night when it comes to takedown defense. And I don't know if he can do that. Dustin Poirier used to be horrible on his back. He did. Like Dustin Poirier in the first Khabib fight, not impressive at all. But Dustin Poirier did a great job getting back onto his feet against Islam Makhachev. And it is something that he used to be horrible at. Even when Dustin would get back up, he would give up his back. And he improved that vastly. Now, if Alex is going to go again at Magomed Ankalaev, he needs to accept that he might get taken down. Yeah, and I believe that he needs to spend the majority of the next 7 months, because we're probably going to redo it again in Abu Dhabi, practicing using his length. He is a long dude, to get his feet on the hips, to pop out on the side, and use his length to create jiu-jitsu scrambles to try and get back up. Look, at this point, I'm going to point out, I am not an MMA fighter, okay? I'm just a fan that watches a shitload of fights. So I get the ridiculousness. There's probably people out there right now go, well, what do you know about MMA? You don't know nothing about MMA. I get it, right? I get it. This is a fan channel, okay? And this is a fan's take on what Alex should do, okay? And also, the only MMA fighter that actually thought objectively about this fight was Jamal Hill. Every other professional coach got this fight completely wrong. Although they undeniably have a deep practical skill and a deep knowledge of the game, bias does blind us all. But I will give my fan 2 cents, as this is a fan channel. We know that Alex is already a brilliant striker. We already know that he has brilliant takedown defense. But is he a turtle on his back? Is that why he played the floor is lava so well? Because unfortunately, the fear of getting put on his ass is what gave Magomed Ankalaev the slight openings that he needed to be successful on the feet. And now in the rematch, we are going to have to accept that we are going to have to stand our base with this guy. When Magomed comes forward to use his teep to set up the range, no more moving back. We have to drill, circling the teep and countering with a hook until it's muscle memory. Also, trying to get that leg and dunk him. We gotta stand the base, which means we might get taken down. And if we get taken down, then we need to rely on our scrambles to get back up. We have to assume that we're gonna get taken down because these fighters, these strikers, the Sean O'Malley's, the Dustin Poiriers, the Magomed Ankalaevs, the Alex Pereiras, the Leon Edwards, they're so worried about getting taken down, they're losing the fight anyway on the feet. So what is it? You're either losing or you're losing. So it's about time that we just went, fuck it, we're here to play. You know, Larry, who I love on the streams, and Cayman, we had a great discussion about this last night on the streams. What could Alex do in a rematch? And essentially, it boiled down to it's got to be a more aggressive approach. Where, yeah, we're going to accept that we might get held down. In fact, we might even get caught. And Alex, we might even get slept. But that's the game that these absolute legends that walk into the cage play. You might get slept in the rematch because you have to be more aggressive. And at this point, the belt's already gone. There's an argument that we're already down 4 rounds to 1 against this guy. At this stage, it is all or nothing. Yeah? And a combination of being the first one to actually initiate the takedowns. Try and get Magomed Ankalaev down early. If he does go for the teep, show him early it's going to be a different fight. Try and catch that teep early and dunk him on his ass. We want Magomed Ankalaev failing at his patterns first. Magomed had a very clear pattern setup. Teep, Eastern European 1-2, like pick him apart. Watch MMA Che's breakdown on this. It was brilliant. Brilliant breakdown on this. It is time to start disrupting that pattern. And disrupting that pattern means we're either going to get put on our ass like a turtle, so we're going to drill for that, and we might get slept. But do you want the belt back or not? Even if he does all of this, I would still only give Alex Pereira about a 20% chance of winning the rematch. Magomed Ankalaev is probably going to be very, very top heavy. And I don't know if 7 months of training to get out from underneath that is going to be enough. As well as the fact that you've got to be more aggressive, so there is a chance that Magomed will sleep you and catch you. A 37-year-old, probably 38 by the time the fight rolls around, versus a primed, confident Magomed Ankalaev who will not be completely weight drained because of Ramadan. I know he skipped a couple of days of Ramadan to make the weight, but he probably went back onto it. Who knows? This one is going to be in Abu Dhabi. There's IVs allowed in Abu Dhabi. The rehydration is going to be a lot better for Magomed Ankalaev. So I would give Alex Pereira probably about a 20% chance of winning the rematch against Magomed Ankalaev. I don't think it looks good for him. If I was Alex Pereira, if I was in his shoes, I would say that he does the same thing with light heavyweight as he did at middleweight. Say, my legacy is cemented there. I did everything that I came to do. I did great. And while John Jones gets his absolute ass handed to him by Tom Aspinall, give me Alexander Volkov. I wouldn't match him with Jailton Almeida. I think Jailton Almeida could blast a double leg on him and take him down, even a single leg, and maybe topple him over. I wouldn't match him with Garn either. Garn's very, very thick, and Taito Ivasa landed clean on Garn and couldn't put him away. And that's power to weight ratio. I don't know if Alex Pereira could generate that kind of power to put Garn away if Taito Ivasa couldn't do it. Volkov is the one that I would give Alex the best chance of beating, and even then, Volkov could still take him down with ease as well. That top pressure from Volkov would be very heavy. But if I was Alex Pereira, that is the direction that I would be looking at. And it seems like he is going to be going with the I'm going for the rematch. So if you're going for the rematch, it's time to scramble and accept that this could be one more knockout added to the board. But that is your best chance of winning this fight. So that is it. That are my thoughts and predictions on if there was going to be a rematch. Let me know, what percentage chance do you give Alex Pereira winning the rematch against Magomed Ankalaev down there in the comments. If this is your first time here, g'day, my name is Dougie. I try and make an MMA video every day of the week, Monday through Friday, and I go live about at least 3 times a week. If you want to know when all of that happens, you hit that subscription button down there, you hit the notification bell down there. It's not going to do anything, the notification bell. It's meant to notify you when I go live. It doesn't. And even when I do go live, the internet might not even work, but it's fun. It's still fun. It's a fun time. And if you're already on board with the channel, you've been here for a while, to all the writers and the members, I appreciate you all so much for being here. Your names are up on the next slide. If you could give this video a like, that would be awesome, because it's probably going to tank considering how well the last 2 videos were. That's sort of the ups and downs of YouTube. So if you could give it a like, I'd really appreciate that. And until then, I'll see you all in the next one. See you, boys.